Hey, folks, hey, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore back. Had a little technical difficulties right there. Been a while back. Texans have completed their 2026 draft. As I mentioned yesterday, it's sort of like Christmas. This is the NFL version of Christmas for us, all 32 NFL teams. Everybody get to go out there and select the players they think that will get them to the promised land. Who will be the team or the two teams that will be in SoFi in February of 2027 for the Super Bowl. But anyway, the Houston Texans, who have been knocking on the door trying to get there for the last couple of years, have not made it to the AFC Championship. But the draft now is complete. And guess what? We're going to talk about it real quick. We're going to talk about it. Not going to debate and get to a long time about it, but I want to go ahead and give them my thoughts and figure out where we are on this deal, and let's get after it. Let me. There we go. Uh, and let's take it from the top. Uh, Now, this is when the Texans had seven selections. And Nick lived up to his reputation, either trading down, trading out. He did make some trades in the middle rounds there, but for the overall, the Texans, at least I think they got what they wanted to. You hear the Texans talk about getting football players. We worry about going after football players and getting what we need. Well, I think the Texans got the football players they need, particularly in the first two picks. And this is no denigration on the other five picks, but I think the Texans went out and got the players that I think they felt like they would fit their needs. However, now I'm gonna say this, and this is my little caveat right off the bat. I thought the second pick, in my opinion, because they were picking at 28, the 28th selection in the first round, or 26th selection in the first round, whatever the case might be. I thought the Texans would have taken the second round pick. But however, on far as the Texans was concerned, on their board, and they said there was no dissension about taking Kalen Rutledge, offensive guard, 6'4", 316 pounds from Georgia Tech, as the first overall pick for the Houston Texans. And as they say, there was no dissension. I really didn't say if they didn't have a problem now. Now, the second pick is the kid that I thought that might have been because where they were drafting at in the lower round, but they were able to pick him up, and this was Caden McDonald from and I'm gonna make my good friend Willie Gibson real happy now, from the Ohio State University, 6'2", 326 pounds. Yeah, he fills spaces. He's a run stopper. And the thing about it, don't think of him as just a big glorified kid out there just in the middle. This kid has athletic abilities, and that's why I felt I had a lot of upsides about him and how I thought that he was going to come out. But anyway, I thought that he would be able to be the type of player and everything that the Texans would have been looking for. So in this case, they got it. They came in and at him in the second round. He's from Ohio, from Ohio State. And if you, for those of y'all that might have watched the proceeding on that Friday, for those Texans fans up there, this kid was very ecstatic, and he just he showed a lot of just exuberance. Just the fact, hey, he had his name called. Again, that's going back to my comment. I'm going to have to get that clip back in here with DeMeco Ryans at the end. But anyway, moving down the list, and here's Marlon Klein's tight end, 6'6", 248. This will not be his first foray into NRG Stadium, or the Houston Stadium, as FIFA is now trying, having them to call it. FIFA hadn't sent me a check here, so I'm gonna still call it NRG Stadium. But anyway, Martin Klein, 6'6", 248, from University of Michigan. The reason I said this is not his first foray into the NRG Stadium, he was there 2 years ago when the University of Michigan walked out with the national championships against when Jim Harbaugh was there. So he's coming back to familiar territory. Some folks thought that this was a reach for the Texans. The Texans thought different otherwise. We'll see. But be that as mate, he's the second pick. They went all Big Ten in the second round. The second and third round, the Texans went all Big Ten with McDonald from the Ohio State, and then bringing in this young man from University of Michigan. So again, that the second and third day, that Friday was all Big Ten. Starting on Saturday, which was rounds 4 through 7, you had Fabichi Wawu, offensive guard, Oklahoma, by way of North Texas, 6'4", 319, and you know, interesting pick. He decided he started off as he say, started off in a lower round and worked his way up. And from there, the Texans, the second pick in the fourth round, Wade Woodads, linebacker, Clemson, 6'3", 236. He started now. Get this. This is a little bit of, for those of you who have seen the how the old University of Miami Canes used to, when Jimmy Johnson then was there, they would go and bring safeties to make linebackers, defensive linemen. This kid started off as a safety, and he bulked up. And was talking to him on yesterday. He put on about 40 pounds, because he started off as an actual safety, and he was asked yesterday about the fact, by him being a safety, how did that help him? How did that help him as far as understanding the game from a safety position, then getting coming about 3 yards off the line of scrimmage as a line in the linebacker position? And he said he just gave him a different perspective, a different clairvoyance back there. In the fifth round, Kamari Ramsey, safety, USC. Now, you're probably saying, wait a minute, USC, that's right there. The Texans already have a young man uh, from USC. You might have heard of him, by the young man, Mr. Kalen Bullock out of SC. So I think they're a couple years apart. I'm almost definite they have talked. That question didn't come up when we was talking to him, but I'm almost definite those two talk. He transferred from UCLA. Interesting, this kid's already got his degree. In fact, he's a business major, but because he had to transfer over from UCLA to USC, he could not get into the business program. So actually, he wound up getting a degree in communications. So I just sort of asked him, well, are you planning on, going and getting your MBA, where, Harvard, Stanford, or whatever? And in fact, Stanford was one of his initial schools when he was looking at the schools going to attend coming out of high school. Young man, I was impressed with talking with him, because education was stressed. His family, he said that was the nature of the beast. He said his education feature was stressed, and stressed to the point that it had to get done. So, no knock on the young man from that standpoint. In sixth round, the Texans took a wide receiver, Lewis Bond, Boston College. Lewis, 5'11", 190. He will come in and having to compete with a crowded wide receiver room. Because you got the Jays, Jalen and Jaden from our state. They're already there. Obviously, you got Nico Collins, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all probably heard some of the rumors about would the Texans be trying to trade off Nico Collins. No, nice rumors, good clickbait for somebody who want to catch the story. That's not happening. But anyway, Lewis Bond there. Now, interesting about this kid's already got a couple of degrees already. I mean, and this is, having been covering the league for as long as I have, the uniqueness about these kids, a lot of these kids are a lot older now. I'm not, with COVID and everything, getting those extra years, but he already has 2 degrees to his credit. And and they asked him, they asked him about, why and how much of the Texans had he seen. And me, you know I appreciated the young man's candor. He said he didn't really follow them much to Texas that much. He didn't know him, he really couldn't tell you a whole lot about him. He had his conversations with them, on the Zoom meeting and everything. But the fact that he just said no, he wasn't a big Texas fan, but he's got a chance to earn a check in the in the National Football League. If not, he's got a couple of degrees to fall back on. Final pick. Aiden Fisher from the national champion, University of Indiana. Young man, 6'1", 232. He followed Kirk Cignetti from Jamie. He was one of those that group of players that followed Kirk Cignetti from James Madison to Indiana, and that cadre that brought Indiana a national championship. Um, Again, this is a kid from a quote unquote lower round. You know, I have my thoughts and ideas. Yeah, we talk about the Big Ten, we talk about the SEC, we talk about the ACC. Well, whatever's left of the Pac-10. Really, when you're talking about maybe the top 30, 30 programs from a football perspective, it's 100, some 130 some schools. You really only talking about maybe the top 35 as far as the money generating type programs and everything. But this young man, basically came in, worked hard. Will he find it? You think he will find himself on this team? Probably. And the reason I say that was a stat yesterday during the broadcast. I don't know how many folks that really, from a Saturday perspective, because I was there right at when they got started till late that afternoon and meeting with the coaches and everything. But there was a player there yesterday. There was a statistics there rather that from rounds 4 through 7 this past year, 63% of the league players fell into that category, coming from rounds 4 through 7. Think about that. I'm gonna let that soak in. I'm gonna let that seep in and just sort of marinate on your bone matter, because a lot of folks thinking, oh yeah, well, yeah, I know I've sort of given high praises to the Texans with their first two picks, with Rutledge and McDonald. That's true, with the schools they're coming out of. But from a statistical standpoint, when everybody say, well, the the teams, NFL rosters, team for team, man for man, preponderance of those teams are really made from rounds 4 through 7. And then the list of players who's going to sign as free agents, because I guarantee you there's going to be some very positive stories. I mean, case in point, Tommy Togiai, he went to Ohio State, and the fact that he kept a kid that kept fighting back and kept coming on, and Togiai is one of those particular players that from a free agent perspective and everything that he as a kid that just kept fighting and kept coming back, and he found a spot on the roster and got a chance to play and proved that he could play. So what you have here, ladies and gentlemen, what kind of grade would I give this team? I'm gonna have to give it an I, because it's like DeMeco Ryan said, and I had that clip up. I'm gonna try to get that clip out. If not, I'm gonna put it out on the platform, on the AdMax Corner platform, the either IG and Threads and everything, and also the 80_more 64. You see the crawl going down at the bottom, as far as X or Twitter, whatever the South African is calling his the former platform known as Twitter. But anyway, what we having here? So overall, I'm gonna give them an incomplete. I mean, on paper, they got what they wanted to from a grade perspective, and from the players that they felt like that was on their board who would be available. As I stated earlier, the Caden McDonald kid out of Ohio State, I thought when at the round that the Texans were picking from the first round, I thought that he could fall in their hands. And when they decided to go with Kalen Rutledge, I was a little bit going like, who? But having speaking with Nick on Thursday night, and they talked about the young man, and there was, as they stated, there was no dissension among all the scouts when they got together and started grading and putting a grade on all these kids and started ranking them on their boards. And here's the fact: they need a mauler. They need this kid. He's a big kid, and they said he has a nasty disposition. And the reason I said he has a nasty disposition, I think what you're going to have to, I think the offensive line has got to meet the intensity, the nastiness of the defensive line. In fact, that whole defensive stalwart front wall of the Houston Texans, because we all saw what happened to the Texans when C.J. Stroud went down. Thankfully they had a backup quarterback in Davis Mills who was able to really keep the car, and not only just keep the car in the middle of the road. In my opinion, and some folks can disagree, and that's why everybody has an opinion. In my opinion, Davis Mills saved the Texans season because of what he was able to do and execute the time while C.J. Stroud was out, and he did not just keep the car in the middle of the road. This kid actually performed. So kudos to him. And I know I've had that discussion with some folks on this medium about, well, he did what a backup quarterback should do. Yeah, that's true. He done what a backup quarterback. He not only done what a backup quarterback should do. Don't lose the game. In fact, he actually went out there and performed to the standpoint he actually won the game. So you know, what you'll see, and what and everything, everything else what you're going to see and so forth. I think we'll find out. Coach DeMeco Ryan said we'll find out in a couple of weeks when OTAs start when they get everybody on the grass, and I had that. In fact, I had that clip set up. And for some reason I lost it. But I'll get it back out on the stream, on the platforms there. My AdMax Corner Instagram, which will go to Threads and the Facebook, and also I'll put it out on X about DeMeco's comments in reference to the Texans pick. So thing about it is you're not gonna get a chance to play it here because I did have it up, and for some reason I'm gonna see if I can go back. Did I find it? Nope, did lose it. Anyway, I thought I did have it here, but as we get ready to wrap this. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and get it up, add it to the scene right now. This was my question to DeMeco. Add it to the scene and just go ahead and let it play. Presents under the tree, you pull them out, but now you starting to take them out and starting to play with them now. When does you starting to see how the shine comes off and come on going like, how does it go move? Just talk about moving from here.
And moving forward, in 2 weeks, we'll have our rookie mini camp. Most of the guys will be able to come in and participate and see the guys on the field, and that's the exciting time to see guys actually out working with coaches. Because coaches, we get really fired up about that first watch, that first opportunity to get the guys in the Texans uniform, to get them on the grass. So we're excited about it. You've watched the tape. We spent a lot of time getting to know these guys, and our coaches have already built really great relationships with these guys by Zooming them 30 visits. So it's even more excited once we hit grass and we can get done with this.
Yeah, that was Coach Ryan. After that, and I'm gonna play the rap right after we get before I wrap up. I don't know if you got a chance to hear my, because I basically said this was like Christmas for the NFL, and far as some of these players' dreams of what answer being drafted, the fact of getting chosen to play in the National Football League. At the end, and I'll give Nick Caserio credit. Nick played to the house on this one because right as we was wrapping up the press conference yesterday after doing the wrap up, I called Nick name out, and I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna play this at the end, folks, because to me it was funny. I think Nick took advantage of the opportunity, and hey, way to go, Nick. Thanks for being a good sport about it. And I just appreciated his humor because, end of the day, for those guys, for the guys over there on South Main Street, that's their profession. That's what they do. That's what they football. It's football 365 days, 66. And I don't care. Like DeMeco mentioned, there's no off days with us because they're steady grinding. Because as a state, the Texans, he as come going into his third year now, starting fourth year, waiting to see third year rather, waiting to see this team, and this team has come back. We saw how miserable, when Lovie Smith was terminated, and they brought him in, and what he's done to really resurrect the Houston Texans program and everything. So when you have a situation like this, when you have an opportunity for these guys to want to come in and do this, I mean, yeah, let me see. Let me see what Mr. Big Tech say. Any undrafted you think have a great chance of making this team? Mr. Big Tex, I got to go look at the list. I have not I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I haven't had a chance to peruse it yet, so I don't know. You can almost guarantee. Yeah, some of them will. From the statistic that I just spouted on a few minutes ago yesterday when I was talking about 63% of the league from 2025 was made up of players from the fourth through the seventh round, and I'm pretty and only and no. Here's the other part about the first round draft picks from 2025, first round. I think the number was only 14% of the league was actually from first round draft picks. So, hey, Mr. Big Tex, what do you think? From that perspective, yeah, you can almost guarantee that it's gonna be some stories coming in with when free agent kids is gonna have an opportunity are gonna not only gonna make the Texans ball club, they're gonna make somebody else's ball club. You got 32 teams out there, and I guarantee you that they're gonna have there's gonna be an opportunity for them to make it. And so as we get ready to wrap up, let me see. Don't forget, 7 o'clock this evening. Chris Gardner and FTP, Folks Talking Sports, will be on the Houston Roundball site, the Folks Talking Sports webpage. Also be on my channel as well, and the all the other channels will be on there and be ready to. We'll be kicking it around. I think Mr. Gibson and I will have a good opportunity to sort of kick it around about the fact that because I had sent him a text that after Thursday night, and I just told him, I said, hey, I feel like your guy's going to come be the first player coming up on the next day. Lo and behold, Caleb McDonald's name popped up. So I'm not, sometimes it's rather be lucky than good, but I just felt like that the Texans, looking at the way the draft board was falling, looking at and looking at the fact that if there was a weakness on the Texans defense, it's up the middle now because where some teams have been able to exploit them, they need to get, I think, tougher. I think no, don't misunderstand me now. This kid, I mean, he's a space eater, but he can play football, and he can get to the quarterback, and he's just no don't think okay he's just a big kid. Let me just put it like this: when watching Caleb McDonald Caden McDonald rather. I'm gonna just say this, and y'all gonna try not to kill me too bad. he's got quick feet. He's got sort of ballerina type feet. So I think you're not, and he's going to be able to occupy some folks and everything. So yeah, you know you're absolutely right, Mr. Big. Yeah, get tougher and younger up the middle. That's exactly what they're doing, because you remember a couple of years ago when the Texans went up to M&T Bank Stadium and the Baltimore Ravens, they didn't, damn it, they did run them out of the stadium, and I felt like it was the fact that they had to get tougher up the middle, because Texans. I think the Texans got good linebackers. I think they have excellent linebackers. But the way that their scheme is, the swarm, the move, and so if you got somebody who can occupy a blocker or two and allow a lot of linebackers and Henry Toa and Aziz Al-Shire, and Speed and the rest of those guys. If you can allow those guys the opportunity to get in there, I mean, this kid would be everything that is worth. Uh, he was. You talking about? Yeah, yeah. I mean, Mr. Big Tex. Let's think about it. This is a lot of these kids' dreams were made, and I guarantee you that yeah, that's the fact that you get a chance to be one of the few players of the 250 some players drafted in the NFL, and for him to be drafted that high and to come from a unique program like that. Oh yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, that's a lot. That was pure emotion, pure raw emotion. Come from the young man yesterday and got a chance to interact with the Texans fans. So I'm happy for him. I'm hoping to get chance to really get chance to know him a lot better once they get in town. And I know a fact, it'll be this is another Ohio State Buckeye coming into town. So and the the fact, as I mentioned earlier, that that the second and third day, in particular, as far as the second round was concerned, the Texans went all Big Ten football between the tight end from Michigan and the D tackle or nose tackle, Caden McDonald from the Ohio State University. But anyway, hey, as I get ready to wrap up, I'm gonna see if I can bring Nick's little comment in, because I thought it was, yeah, okay, whatever. I thought it was cute. And let me see if I can't let me see. I'm gonna see if I can share this with y'all real quick, because it was kind of cute. Nick got me on this one, and here we go.
Thank you.
You want to ask about the coal underneath my tree?
Bingo. Uh Way to go, Nick. Hey, a good sport about it. Because I addressed my question. Um, I addressed my question. I started my question off, sort of talking about this being Christmas, and then we're getting ready to wrap up. And I just mentioned Nick's name, and Nick had a good comeback. I wanted to get that out there because I thought it was cute. It was timing. When they say timing is everything, hopefully timing is right with this particular uh, class and everything. And so we're good. Oh wow! Wait, look who we got here. Let me see. Let me add him to the scene. Mr. Gardner, welcome. What brings you to this side of the neighborhood, man?
I don't want to be added. I just want to stay in the background.
Oh, well, I just put you on, man. Come on, it's my show. I can do it, man.
Yeah, I
I
know.
can,
I was just trying to get ready for folks talking sports.
yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? You want to give a quick preview as I get ready to shut it down. Give them a quick preview of what's getting ready to happen.
We're going to
They
talk.
do this, man. We big time, man. Come on, we know when other shows transition, they bring on the other new upcoming one, and they'll throw it to them. So I'm throwing it to you real quick and invite everybody out for the FTP. What's coming up?
We're going to talk Texans and we're going to talk Rockets, and that's what we're going to talk about. And
You mean
the Ohio State Buckeyes too.
Oh, you mean well? So are the brooms out? Will the brooms be out at Toyota Center tonight?
I do believe so, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, okay, man. Hey, what time? What time is folks talking sports tonight?
7 p.m. Central.
7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Yes,
six
sir.
5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Correct?
Correct.
Chris, Chris,
Yes, sir.
appreciate it, man. Hey, thanks for popping on. At least I pop you on. But anyway, I'm gonna remove you from the scene as I get ready to shut this puppy down, man. Chris, thanks again, man. Yep. Hey, as since as Chris said, he is the proprietor of the Houston Roundball Review. Uh, after uh, my stint with the Defenders and Max Edison, Chris was more than affable and asking me to come over. And hey, like you say, the rest is history. And I can't say thank him enough. More times than many. I appreciate what he's doing and what he's done and what he's continuing to do. Folks, we work hard. We like to have a lot of fun. Don't forget FTP folks talking sports. Your man, the Dolphins AD. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go take me a break, and I think I'm supposed to be over there with Chris at 7. So I'm gonna slide. I'm gonna slide over there, and we'll continue to talk. Not only the Texans draft, we might talk. We might, since Mr. Gibson might be there. We're probably gonna talk a little bit about the Cleveland Browns, and we might even talk a little bit about the Cowboys. I mean, I'll be candid with you. I didn't have not paid much attention to as far as the Cowboys were concerned. But anyway, matters not. Hey, folks, anyway, wrapping it up. This is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, getting ready to sign off from the Ad Max Corner. Appreciate you dropping in, Mr. Big Tex. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for dropping in and dropping in your comments in. Thank you, everybody else who took the time to take a listen. I appreciate it. Folks, continue on your rest of your Sunday afternoon. Be blessed with all love and respect. I'm getting ready to get out of here. Thank you again. And also, just be on the lookout because when and like I said, Coach Ryan mentioned in a couple of weeks, the rookies will be all in here, the free agents, and everybody, like you say, get them on the grass. And we'll see exactly what kind of trinkets they got under the tree. Yeah, Nick, I got that one. You got the last one on this, but I appreciate it. Thank you for being a good sport about it. Folks, again, thank you all for just dropping by the corner and just chopping it up. Adolphus A.D. Moore, getting ready to sign off, and I probably would just see you over here on the FTP later on. Folks, I am out. Hey, have a good night. Have a good rest of your Sunday.